Good morning, Grizzlies. I'm Alyssa.
I'm Haley.
First in world news, the election results for our next president of the United States was called early Wednesday morning for Donald Trump. This means Trump is both the 45th and 47th president of the United States, making him the second president to serve 2 non-consecutive terms, the only other being Grover Cleveland in the late 1800s. Trump also makes history in this election as he becomes the first convicted felon to be elected as president. Additionally, the Republican Party has gained control over the Senate, flipping it from a Democrat majority. The House of Representatives, though not officially called at the time of recording, is also currently leaning towards a Republican majority. Still in American politics, a couple weeks ago at a Trump rally in Madison Square Garden, comedian Tony Hinchcliffe made numerous remarks that sparked a lot of controversy across the country. Many of these comments were aimed towards various minority groups, some of which included calling Puerto Rico a, quote, floating island of garbage, stating that Latinos, quote, love making babies, and a joke about black people carving watermelons. This entire ordeal caused immense backlash among both parties and the minorities talked about. Trump's team claimed that although they vetted Hinchcliffe's jokes, his comments about Puerto Rico, Latinos, and black people were improvised. In a statement to ABC News, one of Trump's advisors, Danielle Alvarez, stated that the Latino joke does not reflect the views of President Trump or the campaign. However, when interviewed about the rally, Trump himself said that there's never been an event so beautiful and that the love in that room was breathtaking. Finally, tensions are rising across the Atlantic as North Korea has sent about 10,000 troops to Russia to aid them in their war against Ukraine. According to Mark Rutte, the Secretary General of NATO, some of these troops have already reached the Kursk region, which is on the border of Russia and Ukraine. Russia has recently been struggling to launch a successful attack on Ukraine in this region. This escalation has been stated to be a very dangerous expansion of Russia's war. This act may prove to have effects not just in Ukraine, but in the Korean Peninsula and the greater Indo-Pacific region as well. That's all for World News. Now on to Haley with Local.
Thank you, Alyssa. In local news, we had 2 major elections along with the presidential election, which were the election for mayor between Remy Drabkin and Kim Morris, and the election for the county commissioner between Bubba David King and Lindsay Bershauer. Kim Morris and Bubba David King have won their respective elections. We are eagerly waiting to see how they fit into their new positions. On to some sadder news. There was a double fatal crash on Highway 47. Police responded around 12:30 p.m. and found a car and truck had hit head-on. One driver was found dead at the scene, and the other was seriously hurt and sent straight to the hospital. One driver had swerved into the other lane and hit the oncoming car. 2 children were also in the truck and suffered minor injuries. Some more nostalgic news, Sherry's has now closed all throughout Oregon as of October 20th due to financial issues, and many are very upset about this recent news. Another sad closure is the Walnut City Lanes bowling alley may close in 2025 if a deal to lease the building goes through. The bowling alley was built in 1960 by Jerry Retzk. The owner has said that it's not about money, I'm just tired. With these closings, many teens are wondering what there is to do in town as it closes. While people were mailing in their ballots for the election on November 5th, there were some accidents taking place. In the past few weeks, hundreds of ballot boxes in Portland, Oregon and Vancouver, Washington were destroyed by fires and are suspected to be related to an incident in Vancouver a few weeks prior. After the incidents, there have been cameras set up around the Portland ballot boxes. South of Highway 18, at the intersection of Southeast Strauss Avenue and Southeast Norton Avenue, there is a new apartment complex getting built that seems to be the most affordable housing in Mac. There is a waiting list already going as it is undergoing construction. Now on to Henry with the election results.
Hey, all right. So I don't know if you can tell by my button, but I and some other people around me are not exactly happy with how things turned out on Tuesday evening and Wednesday morning. But, as enshrined in our Constitution, we will have a peaceful transfer of power on January 20th. Donald Trump will be sworn in as President of the United States. He will take power, and to the people who are happy about that, I am happy for you. I am happy that there are people who saw him as the future and made that decision and voted him in. I am never going to be upset that people made a decision. To the other people out there, the people who are not feeling joy right now, but instead are feeling something more along the lines of fear, of confusion, and of uncertainty, I understand where you're coming from, and I understand how you feel, and I will never lie to you. I am not able to promise right now that everything will be okay for those groups of people. For the groups of people, like at the beginning of his campaign, Donald Trump promised that he would sign into law a mandate saying that there are only two genders and they were assigned at birth. He said he would end safe state laws. He said that on his first day in office, he would mass deport almost 1 million immigrants. And those are effects that, I'm not going to lie, we are going to feel here. They are not something distant. They are not something far away. All of us here are going to feel that. And to those people who are worried and those people who are afraid, the next 4 years might not be easy, but no matter what, the sun will still rise. No matter what, we have a duty to ourselves and to the people around us to get out of bed every morning and to care for each other and to be there for each other and to look on towards the future, no matter how it turns, no matter how it goes. And we need to be together in this moment. And if you are feeling inconsolable or unable to describe your emotions right now, as I'm sure a lot of people are, and you don't have an outlet for that, come find me. I wander these halls like an old Victorian ghost. I will be around, and you can come and tell me how you're feeling, and I will listen, and I will try to help you understand what's going to happen and maybe what the future is going to look like and what you can do. But as of right now, we don't know. So look on towards the future. All right, that's all I got for politics. I will be back, sending it over to entertainment.
Thank you, Henry. On October 19th, 2024, in Seattle, Washington, the Seattle Sounders and the Portland Timbers competed in the Lumen Stadium for a well-known Cascadia Cup, also known as the largest and fiercest soccer rivalry in the United States and Canada. The three teams in this rivalry that consist of the Portland Timbers, the Vancouver Whitecaps, and the Seattle Sounders. Focusing on the match, the game began like your usual soccer game, but then the Sounders brought in the first score by Yamar Gomez Andrea, bringing it to Seattle 1, Portland 0. The match continued until another goal was scored by the Portland Timbers, this time by Anthony Matthews dos Santos, bringing the scoreboard to a tie with 1-1. The match ended with the Timbers winning the Cascadia Cup and the two cities hitting each other for the rest of the time. On other future news, the popular child-beloved snack, Goldfish, has gone through a rather interesting change. Now, for a limited time, you can purchase your own bag of Pepperidge Farm Chilean sea bass crackers. They have the same great taste, but now with a new, grown-up name. Daniel Brown, vice president of the Goldfish Company, said in a statement, Chilean sea bass is a playful nod to adults that the iconic fish-shaped crackers is for grown-up tastes too. Unfortunately, these bags are sold out and can never be purchased ever again. For those still interested in the original name, you can still buy them in your local retail. That's all for this topic now. Now back to the desk.
Thank you, Boots. So how do you feel about Sherry's closing?
It's some pretty sad news, as I know a lot of teens, including myself, love to go there after events and everything.
Yeah.
What was your favorite thing to get there?
I'd have to say probably their mozzarella sticks. What about you?
I really love their milkshakes, especially the chocolate one.
Oh, those are good too. Well, now we have an interview with Val and a Sherry's employee, so let's go to that now.
Sherry's Cafe and Pies was a beloved institution throughout Oregon that recently met its end in 2024 after permanently shutting down. Originally opened in 1978, the cafe was known best for their pies, breakfast platters, and 24-hour service. We've brought a former employee today to tell us about her experience working at the local McMinnville Sherry's. Hi, Sierra.
Hello.
How was your experience working at Sherry's?
I absolutely loved it. It was the best. They worked with me around my children's schedule. They worked with me when my children were sick. They worked with me on days the kids couldn't go to school and I was able to bring them to my booth. They were a very well family-oriented restaurant. They loved to take care of us. Most of us were single parents, single fathers, single mothers, and they worked with us always with our children. My schedule was able to be worked around my children's schooling, so they would literally work with me to pick them up, drop them off, do whatever I needed to. I absolutely loved the people I worked with. It was just the best environment. I loved the people that came in, our locals that would come in constantly. We had some that would come in and certain servers knew exactly who they wanted. Like I had probably a handful that would only come in to see me. Same with all my coworkers. They had people that only came in to see them as well. It was just a very well family-oriented restaurant, and I absolutely loved it.
Was it evident to you that Sherry's would close down, or was it unexpected?
That's where it comes a little hazy. So they had told us repeatedly that our restaurant in McMinnville was going to succeed. They told us that no worries, that we weren't going to lose our jobs. They told us that we were not like any of the other Sherry's. They said that the other Sherry's were going down because of their food kind of income. Like our Sherry's in McMinnville, out of all the Sherry's that we have, ours came in third of having the most income come in through any of the Sherry's made, period. McMinnville made the most profit out of all of them, out of the top three. And so they kept telling us that they were going to keep us. They kept telling us not to worry. They kept telling us that they would let us know. Part of me constantly kept saying that to the other coworkers, that what makes us special though, because to the Newburgh one, to the Wilsonville one, to the Kaiser Sherry's, none of them gave notice. They actually ended up getting more notice than we did. They got about a week's notice saying they were going to be laid off. When they called us and told us, it was my boss personally calling me on her own phone to tell me that they came in that morning at Monday at 8 o'clock to let us know that Monday at 8 p.m. that same day that we were going to be closed. And she was letting me know so that way I didn't come into work on Tuesday. But the last time I went to work was on Thursday of that last week and was told that yes, you are working Tuesday. And then that's what came along.
What factors do you think most likely contributed to Sherry's shutting down?
Honestly, we got bought by a new company. I believe it was a bank, but I don't know for sure. And they stopped caring about the families and stopped caring so much about what the customers, especially the ones that came in repeatedly and daily and our people that supported us, what they wanted. And they just took us down. They weren't paying the bills. We found out they weren't paying property management companies. They were not paying our electric and water bills. They were not paying the Cisco truck that brought our food in. And it just went into corruption.
Well, thank you for your interview. This was very enlightening, and I personally did not know a lot of these things, even though she's my mother, so it was nice to have this interview. That's all. Back to the desk, I think.
Thank you, Valen.
That's all we have today. I've been Haley.
I've been Alyssa.
Thank you for watching.